Can you just tell us how did Retox come to Budapest? How did this begin?
Well,
whose idea was it?
I would like to say it was all Suze's idea. She's a legend in the hostel game across the world, and I don't think she gets as much credit as she should. But if you think of party hostels across the world, all of the hostels that she's run and has owned have been in the top 10 of party hostels for the past decade. So that's that discussion over. I think, I'm not sure she's going to say this, her first hostel opened up at the end of, it was during 2008, the last time there was a major, like, world, like, recession, and everyone else was, like, shitting their pants in 2008. I know, I went traveling, and she said, oh, fuck this, I'm going to open a hostel, and this is how I'm going to do my thing, and that's how I met her. I quit my job and I wanted to travel the world because I didn't think I was living a big enough life. This is
the tattoo, right?
Yeah.
This is what is it? 80%.
80% life.
80%.
My older brother is an engineer. He owns his own engineering firm, and on a phone call one time, he just wasn't impressed with my answers about life. So he said, "Stop living a fucking 80% life." So I quit my job. I said, "That's it. I'm going abroad. I'm going to do something." And I talked to my little brother. I'm like, "Let's go to Japan and teach." He's like, "Nah, I've been to China. It's cool. Let's go to Europe." And I'm like, I was going to say yes to anything. Mm-hmm. Let's go. And then I met Suze on my trip.
How did you meet?
What
was the moment? What did you...
Oh, I'll tell you the moment.
Yeah.
I was in charge of our trip. It was me, my brother, and then our friend Lisa was meeting us here in Budapest, actually. So when I got to a city in Europe, before we did anything, as soon as we checked in, this was before like smartphones or anything. You had to go to a place that had internet, like an internet cafe.
Like an internet cafe,
or maybe the hostel had it, maybe. But honestly, most of them didn't. So I'd be at an internet cafe, and as soon as we checked in, I would book the next place for a week later because that was my deal. I'm staying here for a week, whether it's good or it's bad, because I want to see it. Like I'm not a flash packer. I'm gonna see the whole thing, good or bad. Sometimes it was great, sometimes it was shit. Regardless, I was in Split, down in Croatia, and I get into an internet cafe, and I write to her. I was looking for hostels. It was always on Hostel World.
Hostel World.
That's how I looked for everything. Hostel World, and I would always just read the, like the write-up for the hostel. Mm-hmm. And I remember reading this and going, oh, fuck. It's like I wrote it. It was like, do you want to meet people? Are you crazy? Do you want to be yourself? Do you want to get drunk? Do you want to have party? Do you want to have fun? I was like, no one had written anything like this. Every hostel in 2008 was saying, do you want a comfortable bed? Do you want a nice place to be able to meet fellow travelers?
And see all the best sites and
fucking,
the best locations.
Of course I do, dickhead. This is exactly why I'm traveling. That's of course I want that. But what else? What's the extra? Suze gave the extra in the write-up. So I wrote to this hostel. It's called Carpe Noctem. I wrote the hostel and said, hey, I want to stay. Me and my brother are coming, but our friend is also going to show up. We want to stay for a week. And this is going to be the second week of August 2008. What are the opportunities? She writes back. Again, I have to, it was pretty quick because I'm still at the internet cafe there, I think, when I got the answer. And I was like, okay, good news, bad news, good news, bad news, but good news. And I was like, this is great.
How drunk were you when you were responding?
Not even.
Not even a little bit?
You know what's great? I said that and you both knew it, Suze, 100%. That sounds exactly like her. So, good news, we can definitely accommodate you guys. Bad news, you're not going to be in the same room for every night. You're going to have to move. Good news, it's the wildest week of the year because there's a festival called Sigeron. Bad news, it's the most expensive week of the year. But good news, it's going to be the fucking best week of your life. You're going to love this place, man. You're going to have a great time. You're in. And I read that and I was like,
Wow.
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. So we got on the longest train I've ever been on from Split to Budapest, a 19-hour train. It's no, so yeah, well, in 2008 it was.
Yeah, they restarted it a while ago, didn't they?
They're about to restart it again, and I think they're probably going to do a better job. So this was a 3-car train that was an overnight. And by the way, for everyone, I am giving the quote sign overnight. So we get on it at like 8 o'clock at night and go, great, we'll be there by morning. So you have a jug of water, a couple of sandwiches. It's not overnight. It's overnight plus 12 hours. We rock up at 7 p.m. in Budapest, like a full 19 hours later after getting out of this train. We haven't been able to. There's no food car. There's no water. In fact, there's a sign across every like water spout that says, "Don't drink this. Like you're gonna shit your pants and die." So it's like, oh my god, water ran out. Hour 3, like 16 hours, no water, no food. I'm just looking out the window like this is not the Trans-Mongolian. I'm just going to Budapest.
There, right?
We get to Budapest, and this is weird for a lot of people. I met the nicest bus guy of all time. I get on a bus from Keleti. I get on, and I'm like, I have to go here. And he's like, all right, just stand next to me. I'm like, wow, okay. He takes us, and he gets us to Octagon, and he points up, and he goes, up there. And I was like, thank you. I didn't realize till later, like, that's just too nice. That's unheard of. That doesn't happen in Budapest.
No
one does that. We met the nicest bus guy of all time. So we walk all the way there. Again, this is over 20 hours, no showers, stink like shit, haven't eaten, haven't drank anything. Go up to the hostel, top floor. My friend's already there. My friend Lisa, who we're waiting to see.
Wow.
We're going to meet her there. Me and my brother, we're going to meet her there. Get to the top of the stairs. I open the door. It's a long hallway. At the end of the hallway, my friend's sitting on the couch. And as I walk in, Susie steps around the corner. And I never met her. I had no idea what she looks like. But I knew that was the person that had emailed me. I ran up and I gave her a hug before I gave my friend a hug. It didn't matter. She was the one that I cared about seeing. That's it. At that point, I pledged my life to like this place. And the rest is a long story, but I came back because of that moment. Like everything is that first impression moment. And I think in hostling, it really matters. Someone who takes you from a vulnerable, I don't know a shit about shit. I need to feel comfortable. Someone made me feel incredibly comfortable and I go, that's it. I'm in 100%.
Suze, come a bit closer. Come on, I want to ask you a question. Like, what was it that sparked you wanting to do something different with hostels? If everyone else is writing these descriptions about, well, you want a nice bed, and what drove you to actually want to make something different? Did you you must have had stayed at some hostels in your travels and things like that. So what was it how did you come up with something different?
I remember meeting this chick after a Jaeger train in Retox once, and she came up to me. She's like, "Oh, Suze, I hear you're the owner. I hear you started this stuff. I've got to say, like, I'm so impressed because I've been studying marketing and hospitality and blah, 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 all these things." I'm like, cool, wish I'd done that. And she's like, "I've got to say, you really nailed it because so many people make the mistake of just going, I want to do that, and therefore I'm going to do it. And you obviously haven't done that. You found a niche in the market and you created this business around it." And I was like, no, incorrect. I just did me and hoped there were people who wanted to drink tea and then beer and shots and later wine with me.
Have you?
Start with the tea, then the beer, then the shots, and then end up with the wine. This is
This evolution of...
But did you ever stay or go anywhere that you thought, this is what I want to take with me, like this is what I want to make myself, or
No,
did
I
this
think
really just come from yourself?
I think a lot of people, Yaz will confirm in business or entrepreneurship, is when you are so frustrated with the absence of something or the problems, you're like, how is this true? And I was in Bratislava. I was there's a long walk from the hostel we're staying at, which I'm not going to mention, from the train station to the hostel. We get there, it's like summer, so we're sweating, backpack on. Everybody who's traveled to a hostel has had, as Mike said, this vulnerability of where you're coming from. You don't know the journey they've had, an experience they've had before. No one knows where they're going. You cannot, for sure, definitely trust the cab drivers. So you're on your own, public transport. You don't get a nice guy saying, stand with me, I'll show you the way. Your journey is the struggle. That's the point in traveling. You have to make it work. So we rocked up, and there's a receptionist passing on to a receptionist. We're there with the backpacks on, sweating, and he's doing a stock count of the 6 beers that are in the fridge. I'm like, the 6. Like, give me the paper. The 6. I don't know how many were when you came in, but the 6 now. Come on. And he made us wait. He didn't look at us. He didn't say, excuse me, I'm so sorry. We're going to count 6 beers. Oh, sorry. Did I say 6? I should know that. I should write down 6. Actually, we're fine. They didn't talk to us, and I am a little bit ADD, a little bit like impatient. I'm like, what is going on? Why am I waiting for this? Half an hour waiting before like they even interacted with us at all. And then it's like, here's your key, there's your room. Like, cool, love it. Loving his vibe. So I think it's not so much what I wanted or what I brought from other places, it's what I didn't want. Like, I don't want people to show up and feel like you're not welcome. Like, please, you're on a journey. You've obviously had like, Carpe Noctem's 100 stairs up.
Yeah.
Up! 100
with heavy backpacks.
Yeah, so even
possibly dehydrated after a 19-hour train
yeah,
ride.
if you're a party person, definitely dehydrated. Even if whatever.
It's tenuous though. You get to the top of the stairs, you have one opportunity because they've walked 100 stairs.
Oh, that definitely.
If you say the wrong thing, that's a 0. You get a 0.
And it's a residential building. There's no sign on there because at the time it was a heritage building. You couldn't put a sign on there. The regulations, everything was a struggle to get to Carpe. So when people got there, it's like, please make them feel welcome, like that. And
how did that happen? What was your way of making people feel welcome? Like, what was there like a tradition or like a
yes?
I've I know this is kind of skipping to the end, but I think over the time, certain people get burnt out in the hostel game of constantly meeting new people. But for me, I'm like, you never know who's behind that door.
Yeah.
Who's behind that door? It's like a surprise Jack in a Box every time. Like, who's going to be there? Because, when Shmai went to the door, I was like, ah! And I remember, oh God, these guests were leaving and they'd stayed. For now, it seems crazy. It was only a few days, but I really, really fell in love with them, these Canadian guests. And they left, and a girl called Imka came through the door. And I was in tears because my guests were leaving. And I was so upset about it. And she had spent, I don't know how many months, researching which hostel she was going to stay at. First hostel ever. Researched it. And she checked the reviews every single day to make sure that we weren't faking or we hadn't lost it, right? So she comes through the door and I'm in tears because I'm saying goodbye to these people. She's like, what the hell did I do? I walked into some funeral home or something. But she's been one of my best friends for the longest time, and she stayed in 2008. But you never know who's going to walk through the door, and that is the beauty of it.